Hello friends, uh, in this video I will discuss on the cross-sectional studies. Being related to the field of medicine and medical sciences, I will here focus on the cross-sectional studies in the medical field. So you must have heard of different kind of studies in your undergraduate and postgraduate studies. You might have been involved in conducting the different kind of studies. It could be a cross-sectional study, be a case control study, could be a clinical trial or a systematic review. So cross-sectional study is a kind of research technique, is a kind of the research method that is commonly being practiced here in our part of the world, mostly by the young doctors, by young postgraduates, or the clinical faculties who are involved in diagnosing and treating the patient, usually at the tertiary care hospital level. So most of time you will see there are research based on the cross-sectional method. So what is a cross-sectional method? Cross-sectional studies are those studies in which you perform the research, in which you conduct the research, you collect that research data, you collect the data from the participants, from the subjects, patients in particular in medical field at one point in the time. Yes, I'll repeat that. In cross-sectional research method, you conduct the research at one point in a time, you collect the data at one point in a time, and then you go through the that particular analysis of data and your results. How? I will clear it through simple. For example, in a case control study, you have cases, you have the patients with the diseases, and you have controls. Those patients who does not have the disease are those who are a normal healthy person from the normal population. In cohort study, you have certain kind of study subjects, you have study population, participants, patients, those who have the risk factors for a particular disease, but still they don't have a disease. You follow them for 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. Then after 3 years, 5 years, you will see how many of those patients had actually an event. That could be death, that could be the development of a particular disease, that could be hospitalizations. So in case control, you will follow both the cases and controls for a particular period, and then you will collect your data initially and then at the end of your study period, and then you analyze those data and present your results. This is another lengthy process, a different process. But in cross-sectional studies, you only follow the patient once, you only see the patient or the subject once, you only collect their data once. You may not meet them again, you may not meet them again. And for example, you want to do such study on the association between the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and the cirrhosis. So what did you applied a research method, you went into the OPDs, you went to the hospitals, you search for the patients with the cirrhosis, and then you separated those patients who developed the cirrhosis secondary to NAFLD. You will select those patients, you will collect their data, from their history, from their medical records, from their physical examination and their lab reports, then their therapeutics. So at one point, you may not find that patient again in your OPD, you may not find that patient again in your inpatient settings on the second day, but you will select some particular patients according to your sample size. It could be 30, it could be 50, 100 and more. So of that number of patients, of NAFLD and cirrhosis, you will take the data once in a while, once in a timeline point. You will not follow those patients, you will not meet those patients again. So once you made those patients and took their data, history, examination, their clinical records, their labs, and you will collect the data. It could be on particular forms, it could be in a particular tool, it could be in the form of a surveys, it could be in the form of interviews. Whatever the method you apply, you will take their data once, and then you will compile the data, synthesize the data, and you will apply the statistical tests and analyze that data and come up with some results. This is called a cross-sectional study. That is, you will do the research at the one point in a time. You will not follow the patients like case control or cohort studies. You meet the patients, you meet the subjects, you collected the data once, and after collecting the data, you will follow your procedure of analysis of data, presentation of results in a whole, the similar story. But the method is that you will do all this in a one point in time. You will not meet those subjects or individuals involved in the research more than once. I hope this idea of the cross-sectional study, particularly in the medical sciences, is clear. I will try to come up with some exemplary videos of these kind of researches, like systematic reviews, like cross-sectional studies, with the related researches, so that you can understand it further. Thank you.